Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.
Hello, my friends. It is Wednesday, the 18th of December, and I'm sorry, that sound right then was possibly my tummy rumbling. It is time for Would You Believe, the 36th ever episode of Mullinger's Weekly Ramble. Would you believe it? Would you Adam and Eve it? Would you take a butcher's at that? What are the chances? Lovely jubbly, bish bash bosh, blimey governor. What you like, geezer? You've been listening to this bollocks for 36 episodes. Well, just think. I mean, what's more foolish, listening to this bollocks or talking this bollocks? Who knows? Needless to say, we have lots to talk about. It's Christmas coming up. I'll still be recording these. Obviously, I'm not taking time off this for Christmas. I'm not going to ask you any of those annoying questions. Appalling, isn't it? Leaving the house. Just leaving the house, but are you ready for Christmas? Okay. There's so much to talk about. In the last week, I don't know. I got bed bugs from a hotel. I won't say what hotel. I've been watching a lot of Cobra Kai, which is a wonderful show. If you like watching middle-aged men argue and battle over who will own a strip mall karate club for children. Over 5 seasons. And if you like characters spouting philosophical things, there's a character that appears towards season 4, Chosen, actually, who's, I believe, from Karate Kid 2 or 3, is brought back. They basically bring back everyone who's ever been in Karate Kid into Cobra Kai, and he has all these profound and wise philosophies, like, if you lick dog, you get fur in mouth. Things like that. Helpful. helpful nuggets like that. Although let's face it, I mean, if you ever, there's shelves and shelves full of self-help books full of advice like that. But so we're talking about that. We're talking about Lily Phillips, who, if you don't know the name, I would say count yourself lucky in that it's quite a sad story, albeit one of it depends how you look at it. Is it a story of empowerment? She would tell you it was, as would all of the people on her payroll. Lily Phillips, if you type in I'll talk about it in a bit. So yeah, we've got bed bags, we've got Lily Phillips, we've got Cobra Kai, we've got Canada Post is of course back as of today officially. Hats off to and shout out to all the workers who have obviously been going through a very difficult time at the worst possible time, and now are back with a backlog nightmare. So anyway, that's the thing. We if you are waiting for your copy of the Maritime Edit, if you live on my road, you will know that I have already walked to your house and delivered it. Luckily, though, our subscription base is somewhat wider than that, so I haven't been to other places like Barbados or England or indeed elsewhere in Canada. But anyway, so I'm sad that the workers aren't getting what they should be. I'm happy that I can fulfill these orders. So that's what life's like, right? There's good and there's bad. There's push and there's pull. There's up and there's down. There's yin and yang. Okay. Justin Trudeau's been doing a wonderful job, hasn't he, of keeping Canada on the front page of all the international newspapers for all of the wrong reasons. Absolute madness. What should I do first? Shall I? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do your questions first before I start rambling through what I've been doing this week, because I always end up rambling too much. But yes, so Justin Trudeau, as you all know, I'm sure, maybe you do, maybe you don't, his deputy prime minister, Chrystia Freeland, has resigned from the cabinet, basically over tensions regarding the whole kind of Trump tariffs. She, let's face it, understandably and probably correctly, believes that this country faces a grave challenge from the Trump threat, and really, apparently, if you believe what you read, and why wouldn't you? She stood down before she was just about to release the country's first economic plan ahead of the change of the administration, and she is not seeing eye to eye with Trudeau, which lots of people don't seem to be right now. It's not great, is it? I mean, it's not great what's going on. And it's funny because, I'm a staunch lefty, to use a British term, always have been. And so, my go-to would always be to vote. Now, I'm obviously not in any way, shape or form suggesting vote for the other guy. Although if you are listening to this and you are voting for the other guy, feel free to message me and tell me. Of course, it's two bloody guys, isn't it? Anyway, I haven't got much to add to that because I don't know much about nothing other than the fact that Trudeau does appear to be bowing to what Trump wants. Oh, did you see that thing last week? Was it this week? It must have been early this week. That US voters, in a survey, US voters believe that Trump will get more done than Biden. But interestingly, they trust his government less. And it is hard to argue with those two assertions, isn't it? US voters believe that Trump will get more done than a walking corpse, albeit a very well-meaning walking corpse, which not really the greatest compliment, isn't it? Is it? Donald Trump will get more done, and what's it? And get what done? Get what done? I mean, get more deplorable things done. Make rich billion. You heard about Oh, I'll go to that in a minute. But basically, yes, US voters believe that Trump, they believe that Trump will get more than Biden. But again, it's not the most ringing endorsement you've ever heard, is it? A guy who can't start and finish a sentence isn't the person you want to hold yourself up against, although he was the president of the United States at the time. But it also makes sense that they trust him this. But it's a weird thing, isn't it? That when it comes down to it, you kind of go, okay, who am I going to vote for? I know it was between Kamala but they left that decision quite late. I don't know why I keep talking about Trump. I guess it's because it's this thing that pops up in the news. But at the end of the day, what the survey said is that Americans, and again, if any Americans listening, feel free to correct me on this, that basically Americans believe that Trump will be an effective president, just don't believe his administration will share accurate information, which is true. But then, I mean, that's possibly true of all leaders ever. So anyway, well, one of the things, I mean, and let's not beat around the bush. I mean, Trump, regardless of what you think of him, he gets stuff done. He gets things done that I don't want to see done, like Elon Musk, thanks to Trump's presidency, is on track to be a trillionaire. That's right. Elon Musk, who spent more than $277 million. That's $250 million for people that prefer phrases to numbers. He spent $277 million backing Donald Trump, and along with other kind of Republican candidates. And that $250 million investment has paid off so well that Musk's net worth, are you ready for this? And anyone listening who, Trump, man of the people, speaks for the people, looking out for me, is looking out for the man on the street, looking out for the working man. Well, Musk's net worth has increased by 77% since Trump's victory. So he's now surpassed $400 billion, according to Bloomberg, that number. So he's the first person ever to officially reach that milestone. So he's the richest person of all time ever. So, but in a few years, if it carries on in any way like this, the growth-wise, he'll be a trillionaire by 2027. So, how did this happen? Well, I mean, obviously, he obviously backed Trump because he knew that the way Trump works is quid pro quo, right? It's you give out, and obviously it's very likely that taxpayer money is obviously going to be funneled towards Musk companies again, looking out for the man on the street. So, I mean, again, and obviously I fully understand that, people's assets or value is not what they have sitting around in cash, but he's now worth $440 billion. And there are 733 million people, that's 1 in 11 globally, facing hunger right now. And if you think that's depressing, one thing I hate as a small business person is when people waste your time and they get you to come up with ideas and things, and you come up with stuff, and then it's like, oh, I've now lost money because I did time wasters, right? Check this out. Musk said a few years ago, very loudly and very prominently, and blah, 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 huge announcement that he was going to sell $6 billion worth of Tesla stock and donate it to the World Food Programme, the WFP, to help save 42 million people that were on the brink of literal starvation, like death from. I mean, think about this. Think about this time of year. This is quite depressing. Christmas. I guess it depends. If you like billionaires, this is, and you hate the poor and the hungry. This is going to be very entertaining. But I don't know how many listeners. So, Reese, John, producers of Mullinger's Weekly Ramble, that'd be an interesting stat to make. Percentage of listeners who love billionaires and hate the starving. Hopefully not too high. Otherwise, I had an interesting. Did a show the other week, and I got the numbers through, and they interestingly gave me the breakdown. There's about 800 people in there. They gave me the breakdown by age of the and the average age in. Well, you won't be surprised to hear this if you go to my shows. Was 66 was the average age in my audience. There were some people bringing it down, some people bringing it way up. Lots of people around that age, and I want to say God bless you all for coming out. The 60-somethings. It's the spice of life. My wife just turned 50. Looks great, but is freaking out about it a bit. 50s. I'm here to say that the 60-somethings are having the time of their lives. Why? Because they're coming out to see James Mullinger shows on the regular. Okay, let's get back to. Sorry. That is a cheap stunt, talking about 44 million people on the brink of death from starvation. And you start plugging your own shows, James, and blowing your own horn, showing off about how many people were at your show and how many of them got there for free by bus. What age to get the bus pass now? Anyway, right. So point being, that Musk said he was going to do that, but then point is he didn't do it. The WFP, the World Food Programme, shared a plan, worked hard. This is one point about the time wasters. Worked hard on this plan on how the money would be spent, which basically broke down, was a very detailed thing of how they would do this. But essentially, it was obviously with the aim of stopping some of those 42 million people from dying from lack of food at this in this time of the season of going to eat as much as you can, restaurants. And who was it that had a great joke about? Oh, it was Greg, the late great Greg Giraldo, one of my favorite comedians, has a great joke about death by chocolate and the fact that we're joking. We're joking. Can you stuff any more chocolate in? We joke with the fact that in the West we joke about literally dying from eating too much chocolate while there's people dying because they have no food. Anyway, we're all on the same. We're on the same page with the insane inequality in the world right now. But the point is that Elon Musk said he was going to give World Food Programme $6 billion, and then didn't. Wasted their time, made them drop a plan, and then he completely ignored it, and then he just gave the $3 billion to his own foundation. I'm not one that likes to stand out and like criticize others, but I'm just gonna call it now. I'm gonna put my my neck on the block here. I'm gonna put my not neck on the block. What is it? I'm gonna put my neck out and head on the block, neck out, whatever. Put one foot forward. Don't need cliches, James. Just say it. I'm gonna say it. Elon Musk is a wanker. He's a wanker. And because I don't want to disparage how people choose to vote, I'm just going to say, though, that I think it's a mighty darn fine shame that we live in a world where, I mean, okay, everyone just stop buying Teslas. I drive an ID4 Volkswagen electric. Maybe it's not as fancy as a Tesla. Doesn't have a fart button in it. Well, doesn't need one in my car. You don't need a fart button in my car. Jesus, I'm not gonna tell you in which order the biggest, loudest, smelliest farters are in my household. It's none of your business. But you can ask me. I'll tell you. Okay, so. What did I say I was going to do? Questions first. That was it. Sorry, we're massively sidetracked. What are we? Must be like 30 seconds in, are we? Oh no, 15 minutes. Okay, that was well, I guess that was the table of contents for the episode, but at the same time, it was also somewhat the I've done some of it. Okay, my dear friend, the wonderful Jared Lewis Davidson, always comes to us with great questions. I cannot wait to see you in January at the Comic Sutra Comedy Club in Fredericton, Jared. He's got 2 questions in here. Usyk or Fury? He's, of course, referring to this Saturday's rematch between Usyk and Tyson Fury, taking place in it's Saudi Arabia again, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway. And it's on a very decent time as well. If anyone is getting, anyone listening, you need to get the DAZN, which is DAZN subscription, and then obviously the pay-per-view. It's one of the biggest fights of our lifetime. It's certainly one of the fights that I'm most excited about. Tyson Fury did a lot of obviously showboating last time. He says he's not going to this time. He's going to take it more seriously. Good thing too, because Usyk thrashed him. And I don't know if anyone has watched At Home with the Furies, the wonderful reality series on Netflix, which is a great one to watch. If you're a couple, it's great because generally in a household there is one person, and I'm not making this gender specific because I'm not going to be saying that men like one things and women like other things, or they like this, or I'm not going to say this, or men. I'm just going to say that in every relationship, regardless of who's the what's, the whys, and the genders, there is normally one person that likes sports and or fighting and or contact sports or violence or just generally, sports. And there's another person who likes shows like Real Housewives, right? Or the Kardashians. The great thing about At Home with the Furies is it's Tyson Fury and his family, who are amazing and hilarious and brilliant, or living their lives at home. Post the first of his many retirements, it's one of these things where a guy basically he grew up as a traveller. He calls himself I couldn't remember if the word gypsy was offensive now, but he calls himself the Gypsy King. So he grew up as a gypsy, a traveller, and his dad taught him to box. He obviously became one of the best in the world. Became a British icon, albeit slightly erratic and unpredictable. One of the greatest ever heavyweights, retired with hundreds of millions of dollars, and then because of whether it's ego or boredom or the pull, or just a desire to make more money, he came back. Anyway, so the point being is, earlier this year, as you all know, Usyk beat him, the Ukrainian champ, absolutely amazing fight. The rematch is this Saturday. Who do I think, to answer the question? Sorry, that was a lot of boxing talk for any non-boxing listeners. Usyk all the way. I think the Fury is going to come back. He's going to have trained, harder. But Usyk's a warrior through and through. He's a fighter. I believe he did literally fight in the Ukraine war. So this is a guy that you could picture like fighting Putin on the rooftop of a moving train through Russia at the end of a Mission Impossible movie. Like, this is so. That's my prediction. Let me know yours, please, Jared. I can't wait. It's funny. I don't. I was going to say I don't look forward to many things. I don't look forward to many things that aren't family things, or those are all the things that I kind of look forward to, and work things. But in terms of events, I'm really, really, really excited about the Usyk Fury fight. Jared, top 3 food dishes of all time. Great question. One of those things will be on Saturday. Basically, anything that I treat myself to. But if I seem lively right now, I actually just came off a 36-hour fast. Why did I just do a 36-hour fast, you ask? The reason is absolutely absurd, because I saw that George St. Pierre, GSP, the world's greatest UFC fighter of all time, who's French-Canadian. Is he French-Canadian or French? I think he's French-Canadian. He must be French. I think I mentioned this before. My brother works with his sister in Canada, obviously. So I think he's from Montreal, isn't he? Yeah, he's French-Canadian. Or does that just mean French? But I hope, if I haven't stepped on any... maybe you can be French and be Canadian. I want to get into it. So George St. Pierre, I noticed said on Facebook that he was about to start, I believe, a 48-hour fast, which seemed extreme. And there was these comments underneath saying, "Wow, that's amazing! I bet you feel wonderful after." People saying they've done it and how amazing it feels. So I thought I'd had, I'd eaten a bit too much of what I like at the weekend and decided to do it. So I did it basically from Sunday night. Basically all day yesterday I didn't eat anything. I had something to eat at noon today, and then all I had was water. So that's what you call it, water fasting, which is different to waterboarding, just to be clear. But you possibly drink just as much water in both of them. And to be honest, at the end of a water fasting, you are as bored of water as you are at the end of waterboarding. Not to undermine, if anyone listening has been waterboarded, I'm not obviously taking away what you went through. But I am guessing that you probably didn't really want to see a glass of water at the end of it. And at the end of my fast, I did not want to either. And I had given up I gave up a lot of secrets quicker to my wife, possibly than people do when being waterboarded, because as has been proven in shows like 24, waterboarding is not an effective tool for, what's the word, asset retrieval? No, that's something else. That's the phrase that banks used to steal from people who are going through hard times. What is it? What's the phrase they use that basically means torturing people for information? We will. I've watched tons of these shows when it's like, how will we retrieve how will we exert? We need to extract. That's extract information. No, extraction is when you get someone out of a situation. Information extraction. I know. Okay. Anyway, Jared has asked, what are the top 3 food dishes of all time? Right. I'll hit you. I'm going to bang through them because there's more than 3. Well, sushi is my number 1 thing. Sushi. Love anything with salmon in or on. Looking for a great deal on sushi. Let me tell you this. I know a lot of people are cynical about supermarket sushi, whatever. Although I do draw the goddamn line at Costco sushi. Holy shit. I saw that. Sushi. I don't know. I love Costco, obviously, right? I'll happily row in a kayak I bought in Costco. I'm not eating a 50-piece sushi dish and let's be honest, the Costco, the deals are great, but some of the chicken ain't chicken, is it? Right? If you've ever switched back from eating a lot. Anyway, the farts from Costco chicken. Oh, well, that said, one of my top 3 favorite dishes is chicken mix. I think I've said this before. Chicken mayo. It can be done multiple ways. One of the first things I ate at the end of my fast was the delicious chicken mix, which is chicken mayo or chicken salad from Cochrane's here in Rosse. But I have to say, the chicken mix in Costco is bloody good. Now, I don't think there's any chicken or actual mayo in it. There's a lot of vinegar. Oh, I've just noticed the next question. I don't read the questions in advance, but I've just noticed the next question has the word vinegar in it. Although I guess there's vinegar in mayo. Chicken mix from Costco or Cochrane's. Any time, any chicken salad, sushi. So, but if you're looking for a top tip sushi, Pink Sushi at McAllister Mall in St. John. Oh my word, is it great sushi at the most rock bottom price you've ever found sushi? Generally, when I'm on the road, I had to my wife, when I stopped drinking on the road, we then also had to slash my sushi intake on the road, and suddenly we were millionaires. No, basically, when I stopped drinking on the road and stopped eating sushi on the road, because obviously the price of sushi's gone up and up and up and up and up, suddenly we were actually making money from doing comedy, would you believe? But anyway, Pink Sushi, McAllister Mall. I was there actually last Thursday for the amazing David Miles, Fredericton's finest, New Brunswick's finest, Canada's finest, the world's finest, one of my favourite musicians of all time. Does an amazing thing called Singing for Supper that he does at all 3 of the big malls in Moncton, Fredericton, St. John. And he raises money for food banks. And this year he topped he's now raised over $200,000 for the CBC Harbour Lights campaign, which raises money for food banks. Isn't that amazing? One amazing man with a team of amazing volunteers and an amazing band, and then just tons of amazing people coming to these shows and donating. Absolutely magical. It was a phenomenal show, and Sorry, anyway, I've got off the point. And afterwards, I got some pink sushi. Sorry, you're saying that Christmastime for ADHDers is a nightmare because you know how your brain is constantly telling you there's 50 million things to do, right? You start one thing and then your brain goes, well, why don't you send a text to so-and-so? What about this? Why haven't you finished this article? Why haven't you finished this chapter for your book? Why haven't you finished writing these jokes? Why haven't you finished them in the dishwasher? Hey, why aren't you a bit hungry? Don't you want this? Hey, shouldn't you have another cup of coffee because you don't seem hyper enough, right? When at Christmas time, when there actually is all those things to do, it's a bit like when a paranoid person ends up actually on the run, when they actually are out to get them, how there's this element of like, well, I knew it. It's a bit like that, if that makes sense. Who else had it's weird. The number one dream I had as a child was that I was on the run for murder or something bad, and I'm just this fear of being. And yet, whenever you watch a movie and people are on the run, it looks kind of fun, doesn't it? But in a dream, which is obviously like close to real life, not that fun. Don't do food dishes. So chicken mix. My Jesus, is it really take? I'm 10 minutes on one question. Okay. Totally food dishes, chicken mix, sushi, my mum's cottage pie, and actually to give Costco fair dues, their shepherd's pie is bloody good. But let's start. The Don Air, greatest food in the world, obviously. You can buy pre-made Don Airs that actually are, I think it's Bronte, which are an Atlantic Canadian company. I'm trying to go local now. And then, of course, the greatest food in the world, which everyone knows, is the Don Air from Garden Grove Cafe in Rosse. And if you are listening to this, I highly recommend you go to Garden Grove. They also do a chicken curry wrap as well, which is absolutely phenomenal. Okay, next question. I hope that answers your question, Jared. Pot noodle, chicken and mushroom. I loved that when I was growing up. The signature McWrap from McDonald's. Love that. What is my favorite? I mean, lobster roll is my favorite food in the world. Yeah, lobster roll is. Where did I have my last lovely lobster? I had a lovely lobster roll at Lily's Lake. My wife and I biked to Lily Lake and had my love for Lily Lake. My best lobster roll I had in a while there. I went to Ken Tobias's beautiful memorial service celebration of life there, and was told how that spot used to be the most happening spot in St. John when all the bands would come. And I also think I plugged Lily Lake in an amazing lady by the name of Cathy McDonald, who wrote the Lonely Planet Guide for Atlantic Canada, asked me to contribute some of my faves, and my love for Lily Lake made it in there. Okay, one question. Okay, I'm going to go far. I can't believe this. I've only made it through one question, and my whole plan was, okay, James, you always end up talking too much bollocks. So what you got to do is you got to start and go straight into the questions, get all the questions done, then go into all the other rambling. And you know what's happened? We're 27 minutes in, and I've done one question. Okay. Jay Howitzer, good to hear from you as always, my friend. What would be more offensive, juniper or vinegar? Which would be more offensive, juniper in what? Homemade wine? I don't know. I mean, I've had homemade wine that tastes. I actually don't know. Juniper isn't that used for like digestion problems, like in what they call intestinal gas, but obviously I mean flatulent farts. Maybe it's very funny. Does that relate to what I was saying earlier about farts in the car and the Well, all I know is juniper is it's used to stop farts. Well, all I can say is that maybe Costco should be giving away juniper with some of their processed chicken. Would be my advice. Jay, I love your questions because I don't understand them. Which would be more offensive, juniper or vinegar? In homemade wine, I'm guessing both. Homemade wine, a lot of it does taste like vinegar. And juniper was spiritual, like years ago. Which is more offensive with juniper? Although, obviously, growing up in England, the taste of fish and chips wrapped in paper or newspaper and sitting on a doorstep outside the pub in Maidenhead while your dad's in the pub and you're sitting outside having the fish and chips and you're going to walk home together. that the taste of British fish and chips with vinegar on, there is nothing like it in the world. And getting onto a train with my dad, even now, like we've done this recently. We went from his new home in Castle Carey to a collector's market somewhere, and we got on the train, ate fish and chips. I love the vinegar on fish and chips is. So did I finish telling you why I did the fast? So I did the fast because George St. Pierre said he was doing one. That was it. I thought I'd give it a go. Also, I've been like I say, eating a bit badly lately, so I thought I would, essentially do a fast, have a detox. Oh, that's right. Last week, right after I left you, I shot off to the Max pub, didn't I, on Union Street in St. John, to meet Paul Milner, the amazing. One of the greatest ever, music producers. Worked up with Keith Richards, worked with Marvin Gaye. I mean, just an absolute icon. And my dear friend Jenny Irving, who was one of the very first people I met when we moved here, almost 11 years ago now. That's right. It's coming up to 11 years. Went to check out the Max pub. Oh my God, what an amazing time! So I walk in and I'm greeted by an amazing lady, by Lorna, who's at the bar, who had come to shows of mine years back. Basically got there, but the biggest ever, happiest, warmest greeting I've ever got while going anywhere. And of course, within 5 minutes, I'm thinking, why the heck haven't I come to the Max pub before? And then Shirley behind the counter, what an absolute gem. As regular listeners know, Shirley is my beloved late grandmother's name. So of course, immediately warmed with Shirley. And anyway, we just ended up having the greatest day. And there's I got introduced to a secret members club drink establishment. Is it secret? I don't know, but it is a members club opposite the Max. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the name of it, and I don't mean the secret police bar that's around beside the R bar. Anyway, learned a lot. Anyway, had a wonderful, wonderful time. So go and check out the Max pub. Again. I wouldn't say it gets bad rep, but I would say that there were people who I said I was going to the Max pub who were like, do not go in there. I don't know why not. It's just like a classic old British pub, and the pints are cheap, and it's lively. The pints are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The pints are $2.25. I mean, literally, that is less than a chocolate bar, and you know what? Better for you. Given all the poison they're putting in there. Okay, I hope that answers your question. No, it doesn't, because what would be more offensive, juniper or vinegar? Tell me, Jay. I think you're winding me up. I think what you're doing is you know what I'm like, and you know that by asking me a question that I will not understand, that I'll end up rambling a load of bollocks and start saying things. Juniper, ironically, knowing that it is used for the treatment of flatulence, I will just say that I could probably use some right now. I'm now using a better computer to record this, which shouldn't make a difference given the mic, but I don't know, whatever. I had to get a new computer. The old one died. Long story short, I still had to pay full tax on it because, you only get the tax breaks on the consoles, not on the laptops that you need to work on. Anyway, how's that going for everyone, the HST break? I mean, I must admit, it was quite nice going into the AMBL liquor store and doing the 3 for 2 offer on Kim Crawford, and it's like $6 less. And you really notice that, and you go, "Oh, that's $6 less. That's $6 off every 3 bottles of wine that I buy. That means I'm going to be saving about $1,000 over the next month." Next question, Andrew Butters. Always love hearing from you, and cannot wait to see you again in person in Fredericton, and indeed buy your books, which I cannot wait to read. Whoa, this is bizarre. This is going to sound like I've staged this. If this is so often, the next question, would you believe, genuinely, and I do not put these in order, this was just in the order they came in. What is the funniest bodily function, and why is it farts? And I've just been to anyway. This well, excellent point and question, Andrew. Why are farts so funny? It is the eternal question. It's possibly the question that's been being asked by civilization and humanity for longer than why are we here? I think why does that stink and why is that funny and what's weird about farts is that I remember when my children were born and they would fart or I would fart and they would laugh like at like weeks old or months old or whatever, as young. It's funny how you can't really remember stuff. Like I can't even. So yeah. Anyway, it's funny. Yeah. So it's so pathetic. But the thing that people say to you when your kids are young, how quick it goes, and it's just and at the time it doesn't feel like it because you're knee deep in shitty nappies and you're thinking this ain't going very quick. But then my God, suddenly. Anyway, it was an amazing thing where when you or your child would fart and they would laugh and you go, whoa, who told them? Who told them that this is supposed to be funny? What is it about that sound that makes it funny? And why is it that when it stinks a bit, it's funny for everyone? As everyone walks away. But then when it's like rancid, like, absolutely like you cannot breathe rancid, it's only hysterical for the person that did it. But for everyone else, you just get angry. I remember when, I'm not going to say who, but I had a relative who we used to go and visit, and the husband was banned from farting in the living room anymore. And small English, terraced homes. He would get up. We'd be watching TV, and he would get up with a big sigh, like a big kind of like, ugh. And then he would walk to the door, which was a doorway without a door in it, just an open door that then led out to the main front door. And he would stand in the doorway somehow, and stand there and squat, not grotesquely, but squat a little bit, and then let out like a rip roaring, like one of those real like that, while somehow still making eye contact with everyone in the room, like some kind of farting Mona Lisa. I mean, absolutely. I mean, a skill. And then, of course, what made it worse, he would then walk back in the room to his seat past all of us, wafting the stench behind him, thus making, a complete farce of the new rule. Because had he stayed seated, the fart would have gone into the couch, which again, not good. Have you ever done that where you get an old couch and you waft it, you pat, well, not pat it, what's it called when you poof up is it poof? That's something else. When you poof up when you fluff up. It's fluffing? No, that's something else too. What is it when you queef? No, that's that. Well, I don't know what it is, but when you pat a cushion and not just dust comes out, but like fart, like a centuries of farts come out of it. Anyway, his fart would have just gone in there, but instead it would come behind him, like it was like the red arrows like flying through the sky, but instead of like a red like smoke saying happy Christmas, it was just like a brown smell. Like you couldn't see it, but you kind of thought you could because your eyes were maybe not watering, but certainly glassy. Anyway, that's a lot of fart talk for one episode. I hope that answers your question. What is your funniest? Yes, of course, it's farts. Funniest thing in the world. That was one fart. I have another fart story. This is one of the funny things about doing this show is that if I had, I'm used to an audience, so often I'll say, do you want to hear, because in stand-up, you've all seen me go off on a million tangents and do 1,000 different, start 100 different stories and always come back to them and go off on all these different loops. I often, during this podcast, I'll say, do you want to hear one more fart story? Well, I tell you what, I have another fart story that is my favourite fart story of all time. If you want to hear it, send me a message and I'll do it next week. Megan Cox, thank you for your... speaking of tangents, actually, last week, thank you to everyone that came out to the Long Bay final ever performance of my Greatest Hits show. Greatest Hits in inverted commas, ironically named, asterisks. It's a joke. I'm not really an egomaniac. I should point out, again, I'm trying to not fill this podcast with too many plugs because I'm not one of those American comedians, but Friday, the 20th of December, I will be releasing my Greatest Hits album. on both CD, that's right, because I love CDs, but also on every single platform around the world. So if you've got a Spotify membership, it's free on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. If is it the same thing now? I don't know. Is it changed? I don't know. We were talking about the farts and the Teslas. Anyway, so Friday, it's on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere. Check it out. It was recorded live at the Imperial Theatre in St. John in April this year. It's one of those funny things. You have to record a show early on in the run, and a lot of the material evolves from then. And there's certain jokes that I now prefer how they've become now, but I was super happy with how that gig went. And you've always got to do it hometown, right? And although. Yeah, I mean, it's a toss-up. It's one of those things. I mean, I think of New Brunswick as a whole as my home. So it's like, the Moncton and Fredericton gigs feel like hometown gigs as well, but as did the Chester one, and as did the BC show. Anyway, not picking favourites. You get what I'm saying. So the album's out Friday, and then Thursday night, tomorrow night, I'll perform the show for one final time. Last week was the final. Final. And then because you all kindly sold it out so quickly, we added... another final. I've loved doing this show, and I can't wait to get back on the road with a new show next year. I should point out also on Friday, there is still a couple of tickets be left, by the way, for tomorrow night, Thursday night. So get on that if you want. What's my point? Oh yes. Friday at around 4 p.m. I'll be on CTV with Todd Battis. Talking Christmas traditions, talking the year, talking about what I'm up to next year, and just wanted to say tune in. I do it. Some of you may know I do that every year with Todd. It's always super, super fun, and we can put the world to rights. And it's live. I'll be live from my living room in my Christmas attire, in front of the Christmas tree with roaring fire. Okay, Megan Cox. Sorry, I got sidetracked again. So my point was back last Thursday. Thank you to everyone that came out to that show, but the Long Bay show. I went off on a million tangents and never felt more free. And I will say, I've done more than 60 gigs at Long Bay over the last 5 years, and that was by a long shot my favourite show I've ever done there. It was so many dear friends turned up and surprised me. Adam and Jess Newhouse, who I'm godfather to their beautiful baby boy, and they have a beautiful baby girl as well, but they entrusted her to more sensible people, and it was so nice to see them there with our dear friend John, and it's just so nice when friends come out to have a good time, to watch you, support you. Stacey, my dear friend Stacey Couturier, thank you so much for being there. Terry Ann Richards, I made new friends, Jeff Beaumont, who owns St. Louis Bar and Grill in Quizpan, which if you don't know where that is, it's where Jungle Gyms used to be. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you're still listening to my Weekly Ramble after 42 minutes, you can put up with a used to be joke. You don't want to be one of those people on Facebook going, "Is he still doing that used to be joke?" Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one if I say so myself. Stacey is of course a massive massive hero, member of Rotary Progress, does more, incredible entrepreneur, incredible woman, and incredible all New Brunswick. Basically, if I could saint someone, it would be Stacey Couturier. Who else was there? Nice to see Shelley Key. Oh my God, it was so nice to see my dear friend Kim. Kim, thank you so much for being there. Meant the world to me to see you there. And Kim Legg, one of the best out there. And Kim Legg, amazing. If it was Kim Legg is the one to thank for the fact that we have this beautiful home. So if anyone is looking to leave England or escape America, I hear there's a massive influx of Americans trying to look at Canada now. Just at the time it was Trudeau's shutting it down. But anyway, Kim got us our dream home, and it's telling that here we are 11 years later, still happier than ever in this home, and it's all thanks to Kim Legg. So please look her up. Great person, great friend. Who else was there? My brain is going. Terry Ann Richards Smith was there. Now Terry Ann Richards is an incredibly inspiring entrepreneur, keynote speaker. she is also the author of a book that I believe it's called Success Takes Courage. I have been very excited to read it. Perhaps I'm going to buy it and read it over Christmas. So check out Terry Ann Richards' Success Takes Courage and book Terry Ann to speak at your conference because she is. Anyway, so my point is, thank you to everyone who came to the show. It was so much fun. Thank you, Lindsay and John, everyone, and Tim and everyone at Long Bay. And again, I'll be back there next week. I'm back there next month, and I'm back there all the time. So. Back to the questions. Megan Cox, why is it? It was just one of those gigs where, even though I'm kind of standing on a piece of plywood balanced on beer crates, the atmosphere was electric, and it was just one of those perfect gigs. I just walked away and went, "That's the best way to end this tour, magical." Megan Cox, why is pizza made in the shape of a circle, cut into triangular pieces, and put into a square box? What an excellent question, Megan. I would say, well, it's done. Can you tell I'm cheating? I'm googling, aren't I? Why is pizza? When you Google why is pizza, the top thing that comes up is why is pizza unhealthy? The second thing that comes up is why is Pizza Hut so expensive? Is there a reason? Are they paying their staff more? It's funny, Pizza Hut apparently is much more expensive. I mean, I did always love the Hut growing up, I have to say. My favorite pizza, Megan, is I'm giving Costco another plug, but it's the Costco gluten-free crust pizza, which it's obviously circular. I actually don't cut it into triangles. Why is pizza cut in? Okay, I am actually going to look this up because pizza circle cut into. Oh, I reckon it was probably so you can ram it in your gob easy. I actually can't find an answer because I'm not good googling with one finger. That's not because my other hand is doing anything. It's just because it doesn't matter. I think it's to make it easy to ram it in your gob. I'm still talking about pizza, obviously. I hope that answers the question. Thank you, Megan. I do appreciate it. Stephen Clark, wonderful Stephen Clark, an all-round Fredericton, New Brunswick hero. If you don't subscribe to his newsletter /blog/ weekly journalism output, the F word, you really should. And if you have any trouble finding it, let me know. He's asking the question, why are the drones following me and others? And he sent me a picture of a drone in the air. That is scary looking. They are watching us, and without wanting to sound paranoid, they are watching us. I'm going to have a sip of chamomile tea. Can't have too many coffees after a 36-hour fast. The drones. Are the drones the same as the Chinese spy balloons? Do you guys remember that last year? No, 2 years ago, when there was Chinese spy balloons spotted over Canada, and Trudeau tweeted. It does sound like I'm dumbing on Trudeau. It's an amazing thing that he's achieved. When he got in, I loved him for years. And like I say, I'm a natural born lefty. If that's a phrase, that's what you call. That's what my parents used to call people that voted left wing, liberal, lefty. I'm a through and through lefty, and I loved Trudeau to bits. I used to fancy him. I used to have a joke about wanting to. Doesn't matter. But what has he done? Anyway, why the drone? There were Chinese spy balloons over Canada, and Trudeau tweeted that he had ordered Biden to shoot them down. And I think I had a joke about this in my show last year about the fact that everyone was wondering what they were. Was it espionage? Was it terrorism? Was it a Chinese spy balloon? And my punchline was that it was neither of those things. None of those things. It was some guy hammered on homemade wine, drunk from last year's Sussex balloon fiesta, just flying into the sky. Anyway, it probably doesn't sound as funny now. They probably are following us, Stephen. They're probably following you because you and I mean, there's no media. We are the media now. There is obviously some there's obviously some other media sources, but you are the media, my friend, and you have a following. I mean, you actually have more of a following than a lot of people I know. In that, almost everyone in Fredericton would know of you or who you are, or certainly be a fan of yours. And so you have power, Stephen, and the powers, the elected, in inverted commas, because we don't really have a choice, do we? But the elected or unelected powers are probably following you. So do some crazy stuff and send them off your scent. Your scent? The drones are following us. I want to hear more about this. Is it a Chinese spy? Oh my God! Speaking of Chinese spies, do you hear that Prince Andrew's back? Prince Andrew's back, and sorry, I know it's not funny. Prince Andrew's not funny. There is something obviously comical about his evilness. Laughing at Prince Andrew is a bit like laughing at like Hitler. Like you laugh at the wrong uns. Not comparing. Well, I just learned the other week that at Ghislaine Maxwell's flat, the apartment where that awful picture of Prince Andrew with the girl who I'm going to say it because I know Trump just got some massive payout from George Stogolopoulos. I thought that was a Canadian journalist, and then now there's an American one also called George Stenoplopoulos. And again, I apologize for massacring those surnames. I didn't do it in a racist way, and I don't know what. Well, again, it's possibly quite racist to me that I'm assuming those surnames are foreign. Anyway. Foreign. That's like such an old school bigotry word. Bloody foreigners. I used to do that a lot as a child. Not from my parents, who were very enlightened, just from neighbours. Prince Andrew. Yes, the Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm going to say it. The girl that Prince Andrew raped. I'm going to say it. I mean, that's what happened. And regardless of how we all have mixed or feelings about the royal family and the good and the bad. But there's no disputing certain facts, which are, I mean, he did that. Otherwise, why would the Queen, God rest her soul, before she passed, why would she have taken that $12 million of taxpayers' money and paid it to the girl? So that's that. So Prince Andrew's got himself in hot water again. So my point was about where that picture was taken of him with Veronica. I feel terrible getting her name on because she deserves better than that after all she has been through. What was her name? I do know it normally. Oh, Veronica. Is that what I said? My point is, the picture that was taken at Ghislaine Maxwell's flat is opposite a pub I used to drink in all the time. The Nag's Head in Knightsbridge was like my favourite pub. I spent one of my best friends, Nick, used to live nearby. We used to go there, hang out. An amazing actor, singer by the name of Danny McCall used to live there. A dear friend of mine, Ian Goddard, lived upstairs. He was the guy who looked after Ocean Colour Scene, who used to take me to lots of concerts as a kid. I mean, just great people. But point being, Ghislaine Maxwell's flat was right there. And so I sat outside that flat drinking all day, every day. But anyway, there's a long way to get to that. Point is, Prince Andrew has, for want of a better phrase, let the wrong one in again, as The Guardian said. He hired an alleged, I'm not going to say alleged because no one's listening to this. He hired a Chinese spy as his chief representative in China and has invited him many times to Buckingham Palace, St. James's Palace, and his house. And Andrew was quoted by the Chinese embassy. The Chinese embassy have found out, they described Prince Andrew as obviously an easy mark for a spy because he is someone who will grab onto anything, which lots of underage girls will attest to. Anyway, so that's what Prince Andrew. So it's a mad one. So he befriends. So 4 months after the absolute car crash that was Prince Andrew's Newsnight interview, where basically he came up with his excuses: I can't swear, and I was in Pizza Express, and blah 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 blah. Again, pizza. Everything's coming back. Everything's coming full circle. Straight after that, he befriends a Chinese spy. I mean, absolute moron. Okay. Next question. This is actually I'm not going to get time for this week is to go through the magazine, which actually is probably a good thing because some of you are obviously subscribers very kindly, and you're probably waiting for it to arrive. It is on newsstands across Canada. If anyone doesn't subscribe and wishes to purchase one, so I'll save the run through for next week. This is a message that's anonymous. It's from a performer whose work I know and admire greatly. And I'll tell you what they have asked. Obviously, I put this shout out for questions. James, I saw your post, and I wanted to message you. I admire. Well, I'm not supposed to read compliments, but I'll make an exception. I admire you greatly with the work you've done in New Brunswick, and I'm a huge fan of your work and dedication to proving that you can make a living in comedy, and I would argue the arts. Comedy is storytelling, after all. Thank you. Comedy is also art, I guess. Also is true, even if it's not considered such by the government. Everything. I sound like a bloody old school conspiracy theorist. The way I always come back to the bloody government. They're watching us. They're gonna get us. They don't believe in comedy. The question is, my question to you? What is your greatest tool or strategy for overcoming performance anxiety and quieting the anxiety of being criticized by others? I'm not going to say what this person does because they wish to remain anonymous. I am an artist of some persuasion who has struggled with this for a very long time, and it has held me back from tremendous opportunities. I messaged this privately. As I think you know from listening, if you haven't listened to this before, I mean, I struggle with this massively, and it is a very, very difficult thing to balance because I too struggle with nerves. Also, I mean, it's not so much stage nerves as much I'm so desperate for every gigs to go well that I just put so much of my life's happiness, like how I can't be happy unless a gig's gone well. Is basically what I'm saying. That if a gig hasn't gone well, I can't come home and function normal. And that's not to say like it's like when a gig goes great, I'm beyond 20 years into this. I'm beyond the kind of there's not the kind of high fives. It's just like okay, well that's how it's supposed to go. So there's no highs or lows as such. It's just the massive highs, i.e. the standing ovation, the barnstormer, the gig goes better than you ever could have hoped. That's just okay. That's what I was supposed to do. That was the job description. They bought tickets. I did what I was supposed to, and there's no pats on the back. But I can go home and function as a happy, normal husband, father, member of society. When it goes badly, that sucks the absolute life out of me. It sucks the joy from me. It's reminiscent of like in the 80s. I don't know if you ever had were ever foolish enough to partake in the pills of the ecstasy, the MDMA, what I believe to be called the Molly, in 2024. The come downs from those things when the serotonin's been sucked from you. That's how I felt after a bad gig. So as a result, the build up to the gig, it's all about that. So if I have a show and I'm in a hotel room somewhere waiting, I'm just pacing, going over and over and over. Even when it's in theory the easiest possible gig and it's a crowd that's there to see me, I always worry that something's going to. So really what I've realized is, because also the other thing is that it doesn't help to be an egomaniac. We've all met them. They are A, monsters. B, no one wants to work with them. C, they're not going to. I mean, granted, some of them do make it big. Well done, Kanye, or well done. I don't know, Bert Kreischer. I don't know. People that actually think that they're better than they are. See, and for me, if I walk on stage too confident, then or trying to appear too confident, then I give off a horrible, arrogant aura, which again is a good thing for someone whose persona is that, like Anthony Jeselnik, that kind of fake, arrogant persona. So for me, I have to basically, my gig mindset when I'm in the hotel room, I'm watching old tapes, watching old footage, going over the jokes to see if I can tailor them for the crowd that night, for the place that I'm in. I'm reading newspapers. I'm trying to make it special, make it perfect. So I have to get myself into a mindset somewhere between not crippled with nerves and self-loathing and realizing that they're lucky to have you. You basically need to get between those 2 points. The audience is lucky. So, and by that I mean they feel lucky. Not the. I don't mean that they're like they should be. I mean they're lucky that they have a performer that cares so much, which clearly we both do. But what I mean is that they are happy to be there. They are at this event, and they want you to do well, and they want it to be fun. And if we go out there putting our best foot forward, that's that phrase earlier that I was trying to get right. Not put your foot. I put my foot in my mouth when I forgot to put my best foot forward when I was actually trying to put my foot on the block. No, neck on the block. Oh, anyway. So you got to get yourself between that. It's like, okay, on the one side, we're crippled with nerves. We're full of self-loathing. We're telling ourselves that we're frauds, we're fakes, we shouldn't be doing this. Every negative post that we've ever seen on social media about us is popping up in our heads. That's one end. The other end is, the egomaniac, and basically we've got to, find a spot somewhere in the middle that is, I'm right to be nervous because this really matters. But I've done this a million times before, and actually I have a therapist called Dr. Meredith Henry that told me something to get me through. This was less to do with gig scenarios and actually more to do with life scenarios. But her advice was, you've always been through way worse than whatever you're going through now, and you're going to go through worse. So you've done it before. So just get through it, do it again. Although I guess what happens then when you have the worst. And I guess the other thing that I was trying to remind myself is that whether you're booked for a private gig, a corporate gig, or you're in, we're kind of booked to be in a bar, to entertain people that maybe didn't want to see us, or in a theater or in a club or wherever we are. Remember that someone hired us and they wanted us for this. They wanted us to come and do what we do. So what the thing that you do, they wanted you for that. And someone is paying you and hiring you to do that. So you are exactly where you are meant to be. So whenever that voice is telling you that you're a fraud and a fake and a phony, no, you didn't sneak up there. This isn't night one of our careers, sneaking out to open mics when we actually were frauds. Although we, in theory, weren't, because we were doing open mics. And so we don't. But we weren't saying we were professional. But we are now doing the thing that we do, that someone wanted us to do. We didn't trick them. So go out there. Be you, which I know sounds terrible. I'm going a bit Oprah now. It's sub-Oprah. But what I'm saying is that they wanted you. They're paying for you. Someone made that decision. So go out there and be you. Do what you do. And that it can only, at that point, when you're in that mindset, you can only do the best that you can possibly do. And when we know we've done our best, that's everything. Okay, I have one more question to answer, and then I didn't really do the week, but what is there to say? I think I ended up launching into most of it anyway, didn't I? I'll do it very quickly at the end, but I'll very quickly, one more amazing email here from a lovely friend of mine, Catherine in Florida. Catherine is from New Brunswick. Florida has been cold as late. But Disney is still an hour away. My pickleball has improved in these cooler temperatures. It is lovely. Always lovely to hear from you, Catherine. Catherine and I actually worked very closely with a member of Catherine's family, 8 years ago on one of the biggest things I've ever done, one of the bigger arena shows. And it was an absolute honor. And suffice to say, this is a family full of incredibly talented artists and kind people. So anyway, I had been very interested because Catherine had messaged me before. I was very interested in her. She had kind of hinted at before that when she lived here and came to see on my live shows, for want of a better phrase, she didn't really enjoy them. And maybe I'm misquoting, but they didn't resonate. She didn't find them funny. So anyway, but she does like this ramble. So I'm interested in this. This is very interesting what she says. As you know, this is very kind. Again, I'm trying not to read compliments on this podcast, but I think this is relevant. As you know, I absolutely adore your weekly ramble. I love the ramble element as it lends itself to authenticity, which I adore. Your delivery allows your listening audience to feel like they're spending time with a friend. Well, I am all your friend. And I have to say that this is the thing I look forward to most each week. And as Catherine says, answering listener questions allows for further connection. Brilliant. One thing that struck me while listening a few weeks back is the difference between your ramble and your stage show. Why is it that I laugh out loud more often while listening to your weekly ramble than I do while watching you perform on stage? That is fascinating. And very quickly in brackets, before I read on, I will say what I find so fascinating about that is that, and I will address it in detail in a minute, but when I'm recording these and when they go out, my biggest worry with this podcast is it isn't funny. That's my biggest worry. Like I know some of you I know listen to this because you message me, and some of you maybe listen to it and don't tell me that you listen to it, which is obviously great. But as I understand it, people listen to it for whatever reasons. But I didn't think anyone listened to it because it was funny. I didn't think there's anything I do that's funny on here. It's my big worry. It's part of what makes me feel like a fraud as a comedian. Because I'm like, well, can I only be funny on stage when I've got prepared material? Blah 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 blah. Anyway. So this to say that hearing from Catherine that she finds this funny it was the most wonderful thing and heartwarming and made me so happy, and thank you. And even if everyone else is thinking, well, you're right, James, it isn't funny, and at least one person does. So anyway, she says, I have no business giving you, well, you do, because you're a wonderful, lovely person. I have no business giving you tips on comedic delivery since this is not my genre of performance. Well, you are. You obviously like comedy, so you are an expert. Perhaps you can help me unpack what it is I'm trying to relay. Your ramble has a calmer delivery. Jim Gaffigan versus Sebastian Maniscalco. I wonder if you have ever considered a similar approach for certain bits, a la Jim Gaffigan. This is my thought for what it's worth. Your commitment to research and to getting it right is both outward and inward sign of a huge heart. Well, that's very nice. And you have made my day with that for many reasons, not least because it's got me very, very thoughtful. I do wonder sometimes with my act, I am aware, like a lot, I see comments sometimes online, people are like, oh, his pacing irritates me or his hands irritate me. And I think, should I just stand still? I mean, granted, the pacing is a bit much, but I guess, but then I would possibly do I need to take ADHD meds to kind of slow that down, and make myself a bit less, maybe that's the thing I need to, maybe that's the thing we'll get, maybe this therapy session, that's where we've landed. Maybe I've never done a gig on the meds, and I haven't taken the meds for like a year. And it's interesting because like on Thursday at Long Bay, which was like I said, a really, really responsive gig, I couldn't move around much because it's a tiny, tiny stage and there's the speaker on there. I've got a table on there. And suddenly the certain jokes suffer for it, like, the ferry boat, walking up and down. There's certain jokes that suffer from not having, but equally, maybe it helped that I was in one spot for the crowd. And similarly, same thing. If you actually look on Yuck Yucks in Ottawa, I think my set from last year is on YouTube. 45, 50 minutes, maybe an hour on stage. The stage is tiny. It's the size of my desk here. So like, you can't step anywhere. You know what I say? I mean, to use another phrase, it's never too old to, what is it? It's never too old to teach an old dog new tricks, what it? And I'm an old dog who's been doing this a long time. But you know what? After 20 years, there's always clearly room for improvement. So like I have certain jokes that I think I possibly oversell with the stupid, what's the word I'm looking for? The kind of over the topness, possibly. Although sometimes I then find that if I undersell a joke, it's a hard one, but it's a very, very wonderful piece of feedback, information, and I appreciate it massively, Catherine. It's a very, very thoughtful and poignant thing to say, and very useful to get useful feedback. It's not someone not wanting to tell you constructive criticism. Not that it's a criticism, but it's when people don't want to share constructive things, then you can't improve. And if people just call you a wanker, but they don't say why, then you don't improve. And if people just say you're annoying on social, that doesn't help, because it just makes you more sad with yourself. So very, very useful. I hope this has been a useful podcast. Oh yeah, okay. I did not get to Lily Phillips, which is possibly a good thing. Lily Phillips had sex with 101 men in a day. She is a OnlyFans star, a performer. And I watched a documentary that is on YouTube, which is kind of like a Louis Theroux type documentary, but I would say this documentary made me extremely, extremely sad, and I would be very interested to hear people's thoughts on it, because when you hear that someone had sex with 101 men in a day on camera for money, you might come to some judgments about that person, or crucially the 101 monsters who took part in this with her. But seeing her being interviewed, she is a very charming, intelligent, and why wouldn't she be, again, because very charming, intelligent businesswoman with her head seemingly screwed on, and she's now saying she's going to do 1,000 men in a day. So in 2024, are we post-feminism? Are we in a new wave of feminism? I don't know. But as a women's studies graduate, as a proud feminist, I would love to hear your thoughts on, is it misogynistic of me to feel sad watching this show? Is that the male, is that patriarchy at work, watching this documentary, feeling sad for her that she wants to do this, when is it possible she just wants to do it? And who am I to say, not that she's dissing to me, but I just mean in terms of how should we feel as people? And it's funny when we look at things like that in the world, and the things that people are getting right now. I listened to the news earlier. Everyone's getting very heads up about the fact that Saudi Arabia hosting the World Cup in 2034. Obviously, there was all the controversy when Qatar hosted due to their appalling record. Well, obviously, Qatar's appalling record on human rights. Specifically, I believe homosexuality is still illegal in Qatar, and actually a lot of comedians actually in the UK did a lot of activism against Beckham for being a spokesperson for Qatar during the last year's must be year before the World Cup, and I don't know. I guess my final question for the day, which isn't very funny, is that when do we stop getting depressed about all the terrible things happening? Like, when do we kind of shrug our shoulders and put hands up and go, you know what? Every country is a monster. What are you going to do? People want to have sex with 100,000 people in a day. What are you going to do? Or do we keep on fighting? Not that we're fighting, sitting alone at a desk, talking into a microphone. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is armchair activism. Well, it's not even armchair activism. It's armchair sighing and eye rolling and shrugging at the state of the world. So anyway, that's me done. Trudeau, you keep up the hard work, keeping Canada on the front page of the newspapers. Welcome back to work, Canada Post friends, specifically, well, so many people. Corey at the post office. Welcome back, my friend Cody, my other friend. I have two friends in the postal service in the KV Hampton area. Cody and Corey, and Darlene and Holly. God bless you, and I'm sorry for what you've been through. And I'm sorry that you're back. But I'm looking forward to seeing you this Thursday. Prince Andrew, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Tyson Fury, Juniper, farts, pizza, drones. We've done it all. I didn't get to everything, but I'll leave you with a quote from Cobra Kai, chosen: if you lick dog, you get fur on mouth. There you go, right? If you eat shit, you get shit on your breath. See? Really profound stuff. So I've been just, obviously, I'd be mad if you got this far and didn't know that. Like I say, tomorrow night, Long Bay, Friday, watch me on CTV, and then after that, I've got no more private shows until January, when I'm doing St. John Theatre's coming in, blah, 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 blah. I'll do the edit run through next week, and please do send me your questions, comedy@jamesmanager.com, or message me on Facebook. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for the wonderful, wonderful questions, all of you. I do appreciate it, and especially to my dear friend, Catherine St. Pierre. God bless you all, and have a wonderful weekend before Christmas weekend. Clunky end to a clunky show. Love yous. See you soon. Bye.
Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.
You've been listening to a Podstarter production.